The Matrix Resurrections trailer gave us a lot of new details for the Matrix lore. Some were expected, like the resurrection of Neo and Trinity, and some new ones important to the plot. One that we haven't talked about yet is the prevalent usage of mirrors in the Matrix, both as portals used by the Red Pills and as instruments to help doubt reality. Why were mirrors shown so much in the trailer, and how can the Red Pills use them as transportation devices? Welcome to Matrix Explained.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
The first correlation about the many mirrors in the Matrix 4 trailer is that it is a reference to the book Through the Looking Glass and what Alice found there. The Matrix movies are full of references to Alice's tales.
I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice. Tumbling down the rabbit hole?
The book also appears in the trailer, the one that Priyanka Chopra's character may have been reading. In this story, Alice returns to Wonderland, this time climbing through a mirror into the world that she can see beyond it. So we could conclude that all those mirrors are simple allusions to the Looking Glass story. But the good thing about the Matrix universe is that all its references and metaphors have their own function and explanation within said universe. Why do Neo and the new Morpheus seem to start doubting reality when looking into a mirror, and how can the Red Pills use them as portals? Surprisingly, some elements within the Matrix can explain this. We would like to direct your attention to the mirror that is on the theater stage in the trailer, where you can also see equipment similar to the ones that the Red Pills used to find Neo in the real world after he took the Red Pill. A mirror is in the middle of the stage because it was used by the Red Pills to enter the theater. It is one possibility, but there is another more important one. In the first movie, after Neo takes the Red Pill, they sit him next to a broken mirror, which begins to distort until Neo awakens from the Matrix. What if part of the protocol of awakening someone from the Matrix is to put a mirror in front of them to make the process easier? To better understand this explanation, you must also be aware of another theory that has been discussed on this channel about how the Matrix works. We will leave a link to that video in the description. In short, we believe that the Matrix program does not reside on a single server, but uses the architecture of a peer-to-peer network. Under this system, the tasks and workload of the computer processes are divided between the peers. As in the users, peers are equally privileged and also make part of the processes required for the program to work, like processing power, disk storage, or network bandwidth. We delved into how this is the most likely system that the Matrix uses, so we highly recommend those of you who have not seen the video to see it, because it also explains the anomaly and how humans can manipulate the Matrix. Based on this system, all the minds connected to the simulation create part of the Matrix. Everything is fine as long as people believe in the system, that this is their reality. But at the same time, when they begin to doubt or believe that they can do things that they shouldn't be able to, the system deteriorates. When a person begins to see flaws in the Matrix, they begin to doubt their reality. And as that reality is partially formed by them, their doubts increase the flaws. The Matrix is a virtual world where machines have tried to recreate the real world.
The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control.
But there is one element that is the hardest and most demanding to recreate in any simulation: reflections. Although it seems silly, making reflections or mirrored images is very difficult to do in a video game, and that is because to create reflections and lighting in real time in a simulation, you have to calculate thousands or millions of rays of light, such as light bouncing off different reflective surfaces. This is what ray tracing technology tries to recreate with the use of new powerful video cards. It's revolutionary tech, but before ray tracing, developers used QMaps, or pictures similar to what should be seen in the reflection, but fake and never in tune with the replicated image. However, ray tracing is not perfect and requires a lot of resources to implement, leading developers to make compromises or not use it at all in certain cases. A reflective surface, like a mirror, is perfect to show someone if they live in a simulation or not. This is why there was a mirror on the theater stage and next to Neo when he took the Red Pill, because it was going to help him doubt reality faster by noticing the imperfections in the reflection and how the simulation is created in part by Neo's brain. When he started to doubt, it created a cascading effect that caused the mirror to melt. Neo panics and thus wakes up from the Matrix. This is why Neo and the new Morpheus are looking at themselves in the mirrors in the trailer. They're looking at the imperfections in the reflections that the simulation creates. That's all good, but then how do the Red Pills use mirrors as portals? The answer to this question can be found in a very unusual place: the video game Duke Nukem 3D. This video game was one of the first to create convincing reflections, and they did it using a rather peculiar method. Let's hear what the developers themselves had to say.
Yeah, the other thing that I always think on is that mirrors are still a rarity in video games to this day. Here's a problem we solved in '96.
They're expensive.
Yeah, it's so expensive.
They're expensive from a performance point of view.
Duke needed to see himself, I guess.
That's absolutely correct. You can't have a Duke game where he's not looking in the mirror. The engine will cull everything that is outside the visible set. And if it's not a playable space, like if it's the negative space, if there's no actual sector there, the engine will just say, I don't care, I'm not going to draw you. He's cheating the engine and he's saying, hey, through that portal, draw this again, just flip one of the axes.
Why does it work for the security camera?
Because it's looking into places that actually exist.
Oh, that's right. Okay, right, okay.
Notice that the word portal was used to describe a mirror. The way they solved the mirror problem was that the mirror is a portal with nothing inside it. But when the player approaches it, the simulation renders a copy of the room behind the mirror using the simulation's coordinates. The mirror is more like a window where you are seeing a recreation of the space where you are in. What is behind the mirror is not a reflection, it's another virtual space. What happens when you remove the boundaries or invisible walls from a video game? You can enter what is meant to be inaccessible. So what does this mean in the Matrix? Well, what if the mirrors work similarly? The Red Pills can hijack the coordinate system, and instead of the simulation rendering a reflective image of the surrounding area in the mirror, it summons a new location of the simulation, where the Red Pills can simply walk through the mirror into that other location instantly. We have seen how other programs can access other locations in the Matrix instantly, like the Merovingian and Seraph, but they do this using special doors and keys made by the Keymaker. This may be a way for the Red Pills to do the same, without the need for the Keymaker's keys. They are simply hacking the mirrors. But do you agree? Do you think that mirrors are purposely used to help wake up the humans? Do the Red Pills use them to teleport within the Matrix? For Matrix Explained, please leave a like and subscribe. And thank you for visiting the Desert of the Real.